All right, great evening, great people. Welcome in to Sister to Sister Talk Power Moves. Super excited to be here this great day. Happy Monday. Hope that your week has been well. Welcome into Sister to Sister Talk Power Moves. Everybody, come on in the room. My name is Mone't S. Horton, the visionary and host of Sister to Sister Talk Power Moves. We have been in place, in movement, intentional power movement for 3+ years now. And I am super excited to continue in the dynamic flow. I am here joined tonight with our super amazing co-host, Lady T. Say hey to the people.
Hey,
Hey,
hey, hey, everybody.
Yes, yes, yes. Listen, y'all, I don't never know when she's going to say anything else, so I got to give it a couple of seconds, right? Uh, but I am super excited to be here today. We want to give a special shout out and happy Father's Day to all of the wonderful, amazing fathers, men, dads, in I know my life, your life, who have definitely made the commitment and stepped up to um, the role, stepping up to the plate of being that reinforcement in our lives that we need. All human beings need. We need that. What is it? That paternal reinforcement, and definitely sending prayers out to those who may definitely feel the physical absence of their dads in this season. And we know that you have special memories that you can embrace and hold on to. And we're praying for you, and we want to celebrate your father figures as well. And so tonight, everybody, come on in the room. We missed y'all last week. We did, and we did. But tonight we are here, and we have, while we are in the flow of celebrating and highlighting men, fathers who are doing what I say, they're getting mad, right? They're getting mad. And that means to me making a difference. When you get mad about it, you make a difference in not only the your life, your family, your community, ministry, your work, your business, wherever you are, they are getting mad, and that's making a difference. And so tonight we have yet another phenomenal man that we are highlighting, but we have invited him on to Sister Talk Power Moves to share what he's doing in every industry, in every hat that he wears. And I have a special connection because this is my family. Our roots go deep. And you know how when you're at events and family occasions, we don't see each other every day, but it's like, yeah, cuz we want to stay in contact. Yeah, cuz. And we had an opportunity just at a family reunion. And I said, cuz I gotta have you on Sister to Sister Talk Power Rules. And every time we're in each other's presence, just sharing and exchanging knowledge. And but definitely it's time that we execute and we move quickly and swiftly. And so I connected with him and said, cousin, gotta have you on to share. And so without further ado, tonight we have Mr. Champ Forbes on with us tonight. Welcome, sir, to the male perspective of Sister to Sister. Welcome.
hey, everybody. I'm
Welcome.
excited to be here. As my cousin stated, we had small talk about being on the show, and she brought it to life very swiftly. Um, First of all, leading with I'm Champ Forbes, husband, father of three, certified life coach, entrepreneur of three businesses, graphic design, custom designs by Champ. Um, I'm a skill development trainer for athletes, mostly football with DB Land Sports, partnered with Paul Tolliver. I'm also a PRP counselor with, if you don't know what that means, that's psychiatric rehabilitation. Have my own private practice that I'm partnered with Patrick Nixon, Paul Tolliver. It's called Goal to Goal. So yes, that's a brief of who I am right now and the hats I currently wear.
Listen, we're excited. Listen, I love that because the first thing is that we want to know who you are, all the hats you wear. And when you and I were discussed it, I said, wait a minute. I know that list goes long, it's long. And a lot of times we don't really sit still
Yes.
to realize all that we do. Because if you're anything like me, I'm just so used to doing, being.
Yeah.
And I even when individual asks me, so what do you do? Sometimes it's like, oh, let me sit down and be still and share really what I do. But it takes a moment of pause to do that. And so as I was even just preparing, I said, wow, he wears so many hats. Father, mentor, teacher, husband. Let's back it up. Husband, son, um, uncle. I mean, it's so many things. And as I was looking, is that you're also a man of faith as well.
Yeah.
And um, I saw that your tagline was faith, focus, and fortitude. And in a time and in a world where there's so much that's going on, and you work PRP. Like
Yeah.
I did PRP as well, psychiatric rehabilitation. The work in mental health is so important. The work in helping to mentor and build our young people is so important. You're doing that, but you also have your own children that every day you're
Yeah.
faced with having to build. So tonight, from a male's perspective, I want to dig a little bit deeper into this faith, focus, and fortitude. What does that mean to you? And from your perspective as a male with all of these hats, how do you navigate through those channels?
I'm glad you asked that. So faith, right? So everyone says they have it, right? So, but faith is an action word. So it's how we live. So just starting off your day with God involved, just not just prayer, but just gratefulness, right? Just being happy to be here, no matter what your current state is. Like just living that automatically puts a smile on your face. It almost defeats the enemy before he gets started. Focused. We live in a world that's full of distractions, like every way you turn. And being that now I crossed over into the land of 40, I'm 44, the more you understand the value in God's word and why he put certain things in place. We have a generation of people now that um, they're born into distractions. They're born into social media. They're born into technology in a way that we didn't have it. And a lot of times we judge them based on things we didn't even have to walk in the shoes of. So I think it's very important that we learn how to be focused so we can embed it in them. So there's certain things you can do with your children to, I guess, be nostalgic in a sense where you can, disconnect them from the technology. You can have more family time. You can, be present when you're around them, and you can teach them. You'd be surprised how your kids will just emulate those things. Um, it's not uncommon for me to be in the presence of my children, especially my oldest, who is with me full time, and no TVs are on at all. I come in the house with my bonus daughter from my marriage, and no TV at all. Sometimes she's just doing whatever she's doing in peace. Fortitude, right? We talk about and in mental health, we value mental health itself. We're big on making sure people have strong mental health, right? So we say things like it's okay to not be okay. But what we need to also pivot and we need to tell people that it's okay to actually be okay. Because what's happening now is that because we're losing sight of being grateful, we're taking on everyone's burden. of all our friends, all our coworkers. And we're not just choosing to be okay. Sometimes you don't need anything to be okay. Sometimes you just need to be alive to be okay. Sometimes you can just walk and be okay. Sometimes you can read a book and be okay. You don't need all these things to be okay. But we're teaching people that things have to happen in order to be okay. I'm not going to be okay till I get the house. I'm not going to be okay till I get the car. I'm not going to be okay until I get the spouse. But until you learn how to be happy in yourself, you're going to be seeking it in stuff. And I think it's very important that we have the mental fortitude and we're teaching how to limit the distraction so we can just be and just let God, show the way and learn to find happiness in whatever. It shouldn't always be attached to your career. Maybe the career path is not for you. Maybe you're a stay-at-home mom. Maybe you're a dad who's just doing the job you have to do to take care of your kids, and you don't have the career that you want. Can't you just be proud to come home and your kids are fed and your kids are clothed? Like, we just have to
Mm.
just be, and we don't know that anymore in a world that's telling us achievement is our true self, and it's not, in my opinion, of course.
Wow.
Wow. My goodness. You said a mouthful.
Yeah. You were you jumping in, Lady T?
You can go ahead and no, go.
So you broke it down. That's definitely some nuggets right there. And so I'm over here taking copious notes myself. But you broke this faith, focus, and fortitude down. Um, faith, starting with God,
That's everything.
devotion, affirmations, whatever it is for you. Definitely important because our spiritual core, that ties into for me to fortitude, that
Yes.
fortification. Because if I don't have that, and if you look at how you laid it out, the faith and the fortitude, it like reinforces because you're on both sides, right? It anchors you. If you know what an anchor is, y'all, then it anchors you on both sides. Cause you might have to get that anchor with those words in it, right? But that's the next t-shirt. But but then the focus, you talked about detaching from devices, being okay in silence. It's not strange for you to walk in the house, like you said, and see your children. Um, just resting or being in without the television or without electronic device, telephone. We know these days you don't see one without the other. That's major. um and that might speak to them being able to see you, living in front of them by example, because that's another piece there. But how can we focus when a lot of times we are plugged in all the time?
Intentionality. It starts with being intentional. And so
Mm-hmm.
when you just create a routine for yourself that no longer becomes a routine, it becomes a practice. So I walk a lot. I was in an accident when I was 25. I got severe sleep apnea. It prevents me from driving.
Mm-hmm.
People see me a lot, and they go, "You need a ride?" And I'm like, "This is on purpose." Now there's a whole truck in my driveway. I don't have a. I'm not stuck. I can get where I need to go. But sometimes that's the only time I get to unpack, decompress. Whole life is work with kids, I work with adults, and I don't want that to come to my door. 20 minutes
Mm-hmm.
not uncommon for me to walk to and pray and talk, and sometimes it's a silent cry. It's not necessarily a teary-eyed cry, which is nothing wrong with that, but sometimes it's just an outpouring of God. And then I get to my destination and it's like a relief. I could come in the door, I could just be dad, I could just be husband. I don't carry these things with me because I'm intentional about making my time for God. Because a lot of times we're saying we're so busy we don't have time. But if you really think about the vices that people have, you have time to do whatever you want. You just have
Yeah.
important things that you made a priority. So if I can watch a 25-minute sitcom series or
Mm.
television, why can't I walk 25 minutes and just talk to God? Right.
Right.
So if that's in your day, right, that's not an extra step. So you're not thinking about, like, that's not extra for me. That's my norm. So if I get off of work, I just decide I want to walk today. It's 25 minutes to my house. Then I just unpack God and I get home and I don't have to figure out how to incorporate. That's already a part of my life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I want to rewind a little bit and go back to, because you slid it in there
Yeah.
and said that you don't drive
Yeah.
because in this season of your life because of it is a health
Yeah.
challenge, right? And so as a male, I want to unpack that a little bit because you said, wait a minute, is when people see you,
Mm-hmm.
it's intentional.
Yeah.
And now that you're on the other side of, hey, this is what it is, right? But as a male, I want to, because there's somebody out here who's watching or they will watch, and they're dealing with maybe a health issue and they think it's the end of them,
Yeah.
but they have learned, the words is not exact words not coming to me right now, but they have um they have not allowed to or surpass or kind of seen the other side of it as opposed to allowing it to defeat them. You've allowed it to catapult you or to say, hey, this is what it is. But I'm sure that there's a time in the beginning you like, wait a minute. So
Yeah.
how have you um how have you navigated that and now got into this other perspective to say, you know what, this is where I'm at, and now I'm going to use it to my benefit because now it's helping you, from what you shared,
Yeah.
it's adding value to you or giving you extra time to unplug.
Yes. So, of course, originally when these things happen, it's a setback. It's a whole lot of hurdles with that mentally. Because the first thing, people get sleep apnea different ways. Some people get it from weight gain. Some people get it because they smoke. And when you get it through head trauma, it's a little different. So, if I'm sitting alone and I blink, I could be in a ditch. And there are people who don't really understand that, who think, oh, you could go ahead and drive, you could do this, but at the expense of who and what. Um, and so as I got through the common sense of it all, because it was common sense for me, it was do or die. Um, then I just my nature kind of took its toll a little bit because by nature, I'm a people person. I like going outside and waving to people. I got people I talk to every day that I've known for 20 years and I don't know their name. So that's already my nature. They're just comings and goings, just seeing each other at the market, seeing each other passing through. So as I was wearing I'm going off, but I'm coming back on the subject. So as my journey grew as a mentor, which started in 2003, right? I started thinking about the idea of like how we serve our community, but no one sees our face. The people that represent our community, the people that say they love the community, don't live in the community, don't walk in the community, don't visit the community unless they have to speak. But for me, everything that I did, whether it was training, life coaching, I also an educator in Baltimore City Schools. I forgot to add that. There will always be people that say, I know him. I see him all the time. They can resonate with a person they saw. If I wanted a kid to sign up for a program, a parent felt safe because they see me all the time. Um, and so my own journey turned into a positive because if I was to go on social media right now and post that I'm doing something tomorrow at 12, people wouldn't be like, oh, that's Champ who wear many hats. They'd be like, oh, that's him. That's what he do. He does these, that person. He lives this. He embodies this. So my health journey almost pushed me into my purpose and kind of helped umbrella my life a little bit. One of the questions that you asked me, you said, how do I make time for it all? And I'm going back to the word umbrella. I put my life completely under an umbrella. So when you go life coach, right? And so, that's teaching people life skills, how to navigate certain things. When I talk about my skill development business, what makes it unique to everyone else is we provide mentorship while we're doing that. So not only do we deal with everything from behavior to separation anxiety, grief counseling, um, day-to-day teenage stuff. You like this girl, how do you court her at 16, right? It's like all these different things are under the umbrella. I teach character ed in Baltimore City schools. I'm probably the only character ed teacher. And I was
Wow.
by my principal, the reason why she chose me to teach the class because I live it. So that was the biggest compliment you can ever actually receive,
Woo.
was that I teach a class. So she said, I need you to teach students to be like you. And I didn't even know how to feel about that. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome. So when I say that I do all these things,
Mm.
I'm doing the same work in just different places. So I don't have to expand me, right? And in the school system, they have a term called social emotional learning. And I remember having a conversation with them, just a few other educators, about the idea that we use it as a tactic. And if it's not your nature, then it doesn't work. So, if you're in the elementary school, you work in pre-K, you see a kid in the cafeteria struggling with his milk, you open his milk for him. When he has an episode in the building later on, he's going to gravitate towards you when it's time to talk him off a ledge because you were helpful, because it was your nature. We have too many people that bypass kids and say, that's not my kid, that's not my class, that's not my students. And then when the kid having an emergency, now you're reacting to these things, and the kid doesn't know you because you're only being in tact mode.
Mm.
So, for me to just be me in all of those places doesn't feel like work.
Wow. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, those out there listening, I am being blessed, being challenged to come up, to elevate, right? By this phenomenal man, your character, as you're sharing, we can clearly see, I know I can see, that this is who you are and this is who you be. This is what you embody every day. And what an honor to be seen, right, in your service, and to be called. My mother always talks about, what's the saying about, it's a blessing, it's an honor to be called up,
Yes.
right? And because everyone's out here trying to build platforms for themselves, but when you're called up because you're just being who you are, um,
Yes.
that's an awesome thing, and that's when you know you're in purpose and you're flowing. um, but this character education, right?
Yes.
That's what you said it's called.
Yes.
Wow. And you're absolutely right. What you just said about, you know, too many walk by and walk past situations, people, places, and things and say, oh, that's not my responsibility.
Yes.
So I look beyond it, I look past it, I avoid it, I skip through it. But and you never know who the person is, whoever, whatever it is.
Yes.
And if it comes back to you, you're like, oh, we don't get a chance to make, what is it, a first impression over again.
Right. You don't get it twice.
You don't get it twice. And we never know who that person is, whether it's that child.
Mhm.
And it's an opportunity to connect. It's an opportunity to bridge a gap, to build, to build rapport. And when we're talking about working with young people, it's definitely important to do so, because one thing they'll look through you. And if you're not real and you're not authentic, they will see that.
They will see it.
Yeah.
They will see that. And so wow, you have just laid so much down. You talked about the social emotional learning. We learning tonight. Listen, I want y'all to drop if this is blessing you tonight, drop some comments in the chat. Let us know. You are doing some amazing things. And so with where you're at, with what you're doing in the school system, NPRP. And are you in ministry too, or you?
No, so that it's funny that you
I
say.
just had to ask.
That's what everyone asks, right? And again, umbrella. So my ministry is my walk. So I take it with me everywhere that I go. So I'm not
Yeah,
waiting for a landing place because I'm intentional about just living it. I'm going to
yeah,
start until you get tired of hearing it, even
yeah,
on the football. So it's,
yeah,
yeah, I just think our walk's different. I think that too many people think that man of God means lead church.
yeah.
And
How
so,
about lead your
That's a
life?
word.
right.
That's a word.
Yeah.
A whole one, right, T?
Mm-hmm.
A whole word.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Because
So go ahead, lady T.
because what just came to me was, if you are the example, then you don't need a physical ministry to minister it to, like,
Mm,
you know what I mean? So he, like, his whole premise, the whole moral behind his whole story is live it.
It's just live it.
Is live it. So and it's just so crazy, because if more of us were the example and live the example versus waiting for the platform to pretend to be the example, we
mm,
would lead more people, guide more people, and touch more people, and therefore save more souls.
Yes. And so I believe my reach is expanded by just being myself because I'm going to come into contact with people on a daily basis. And I know how to be a regular person. I know how to just vibe, but I also know how to, bring parts of me to whatever scenario. And I'm again intentional. So by all means, I am not speaking like I'm the perfect person. I am flawed just like me and you, but I am very, very intentional about righting wrong, saying I'm sorry if I have to, watching how I talk to people, being respectful, not being
mm,
soaked in my pride. So that's the difference. It's not that I'm not flawed. I'd have to say I'm sorry to my wife all the time, but I'm also have changed behavior. So we both, say things, do things as people do, but we're very intentional about fixing things. We go day to day, making sure the problems from yesterday were fixed. It's a very healthy situation, the best one I've ever had. 3-year
mm.
anniversary passed on Saturday. So I'm proud of that. And I'm proud
Yes, congratulations.
Congratulations.
not a fake happy marriage. It is
Celebrate.
not a fake happy marriage. It is
Mm.
Listen.
the best thing that has happened to me in my life. And if I can do it over 1,000 times, I would do it. And there was a couple things, my wife, she always would say, like, I wish we would have met sooner, because
Mhm.
8 years for us, 3 years married would have been sooner if it wasn't for COVID. But I
Yeah.
tell her that the man I become wasn't ready yet. So
Mm.
it had to happen this way. And
Mhm.
I'm proud that it happened this way because I know what I have in my life.
Mm.
Listen, I want you to, oh my goodness. I'm so glad that we had you tonight because it's like we have it all in one because this is also I feel like mental health is almost I feel like I've been saying it every month. It's a daily
Mhm.
situation, right? But I know this is also what is it? Men's Health Month,
Uh,
Mhm.
right? And then we are also always focusing on mental health. With you doing so much, we celebrate you and what you just stated about, a lot of times we can say we wish we could have, should have, would have, or we should have did it in a certain timing, but God knows the timing. We might have a desire to do something in one season, but um even though something is delayed, it doesn't, or it seems as if it's delayed, it doesn't mean that it's denied.
Absolutely.
And he's just preparing us, and we have to become the person who can embrace it and be a good steward over that thing that we are looking to obtain
Absolutely.
and secure. Yeah.
Being the person that's ready for your prayer to be answered, because a lot of people are we pray and we like, Lord, give me this, give me that, but are you the person ready for it? Like, are we honest about, are we ready for the blessings that we ask for? Because anything that he bless you with, he's calling you higher. That means there's more of you, you know? So again, I can't wear all these hats and come home and don't watch Tubi with my wife tonight. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to be intentional about our time, um, our
Mm,
um, our bonding, our, you know, our building, because you're building your marriage every day. You're building your parenting every day. And so
mm,
I think that if you just really focus on your personal development, if we just start there, if everybody just focus
mm.
on personal development, you'll be surprised at how things around you just change automatically. And so that was probably the best thing that happened for me, is more so was that I just stopped worrying about who betrayed me, who did me dirty, who hurt my feelings, who misunderstood, who fumbled, all that stuff that we love to tag in memes and,
Yeah.
you know, and I started focusing on who was it, what was it about me that even allowed myself to be in this space. And so when I
Yeah.
really learned me, when I sat in my mess, right? Because we have it. When
Mhm. We
we
do.
we have,
And we do.
because we have to learn things, right? We can't
Yeah.
control how we were raised. We can't control what we saw, what we was experienced. And for me, I was raised with really awesome parents, and I still experience some stuff when I walked out of their house.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I unpack me,
Mm. They can cover you, but so far, so much, so far.
when I unpack me,
Mm.
I really, really discerned who didn't belong, who need to stay, what did I needed to do to be better. Because we can just all point the finger and we'll probably be justifiably right. But when we
Yeah.
also be still alone, or still don't have our kids' respect, or still not with the career that we want, because we're more worried about being right than getting to the root of our own flaws. I,
Mm.
I can't I can't be in a relationship, or I can't be in a friendship or a business partnership where the only thing I'm expecting is for them to do better. And I'm telling them to live with who I am. And, you know, and we do that a lot. So um,
Mm.
any advice I could give to anybody, if there was something you can do right now, is just start your own personal journey. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
stay away from that word healed. There's no truth to that. Again, this is just my opinions, but you just because you was removed from your trigger for 20 years don't mean the trigger ain't there. So you might have positioned yourself not to have to deal with certain things. But if you're intentional daily about the best version of you, then you can regulate those emotions when those triggers come, because you don't know when they're gonna spin the block.
Mm.
Mm.
Good. That
Wow.
is that is
So
good.
you can be removed, or you can remove yourself so
Yes.
you won't have to deal with it or be around it, but it doesn't mean that you have been healed.
Yeah, you called it healed because you ain't mad at
Mhm.
daddy no more. You ain't mad at your baby mother no more. You ain't mad at the person that deceived you, but you just been removed
You're
for
out of state.
long. You haven't
You're
had
out of-
to deal. And then you could see that person and be like, why in the world am I feeling all this? Where did this come from? You
Mhm.
never dealt with it. You just thought you did, right? So
Mhm.
the prayer for discernment, the intentionality about, you know, regulating your emotions, those things, if you're practicing that on a regular basis, then even when you are kind of taken aback, you can kind of navigate your experience and come out of it. But when you really telling people come healed, uh,
Mhm.
that that's a red flag in itself. The red flag in itself. We're not healed. We're
We're
healing it
all with continuous works in progress.
always.
Mhm.
Because healed
I was
kind of
going to
puts,
ask
I
you that.
understand your perspective, because healed puts a finish on it. Like, I'm
Mhm.
done healing. When
Yeah.
the reality is that there's no such thing as being done,
Yes.
because we're going to experience life consistently and constantly.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. There's
so I,
levels to
I
it.
understand that. Yeah. Yeah.
And new traumas, right? We still living,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
I tell people all the time, I prepare to lose both parents because I don't want them to lose me. That's going to be
Mm.
that's going to be trauma.
Mhm.
We, but we
Mhm.
we're not. because we don't do the intentional work, we wait for it to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
We wait for it to happen. You live long enough, you're going to lose. So what are you doing in the process to prepare mentally?
Yeah.
And beyond the mental, or like the mental is definitely important.
Yes.
But also making sure that you are showing up and doing what you're supposed to do as a as a child.
Yes.
And then I know that there's levels of relationships and things, because I've had to navigate my own. But one thing that always comes to my mind is, while we beyond your blood parents, yes, you can have mentors, and they can, and different people in your life that can be male figures, woman figure, mother, your godmothers, or however, but you only get one set
Yes.
of blood parents.
Yes.
And I always think about, like, you want to make sure you've done your part. It may be wrong in a situation or however, but you want to make sure, if you can have a relationship, and it doesn't have to be peachy, all perfect, but some type of relationship, do that.
Yes.
Make some strides to get to that place. That's just my perspective on it. Because sometimes we can do that. I have a friend who always is saying, we have this mentality in this culture now of releasing people, building walls, shutting people out of the life, and all of these different things. We can do that so quickly, but what about the love of God when he says, with loving kindness have I drawn you? What about the fruit of the Spirit? And if we're really his, then we have to embody these things. When you talk about just being, sometimes we have questions about, right, forgiveness is important in so many different levels. Sometimes we are so easy to dismiss, some family. God, why did you put me in this family? Lord, what is going on? These people is wrong. And listen, some things I'm like, look, I'm good at home. But then, like I just said, we were just at family reunion. I had not been to a family reunion in a long time. It was just something in me. Mo, you need to go and you need to show up, make a connection. Don't worry about who hasn't been there in years. God said, you go.
Yes.
You go. You show your face. You don't know your only grandmother is the one, who's your last one. You go and you show up and you support and you represent. That was on me. So I'm saying all that to say that it's the mental piece of it as well, but sometimes we also have to, and this is still connected. We have to go beyond ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Push beyond our feelings. Push beyond, like you said, they did me wrong, and they did you wrong.
Yeah.
Can I say
but
something?
We have a responsibility. Absolutely.
So cut off culture, removing everybody out of your life when you have a disagreement, is because those people haven't dealt with regret yet. And so sometimes because you crying the loudest doesn't mean that you love a person more. Sometimes there's guilt and shame attached to it.
Yes.
Now, I don't believe that you should just thrive in toxic. You know the word. I ain't in
toxicity.
But you can love your family from across the street.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Listen. Like, I have to see my aunt and uncle every day, but I can still show up to the family reunion. I can still show up on their birthdays. I can still, hey, how you doing? To your uncle. But we ain't got to hang out every day.
And be cordial and keep it moving.
Cordial people, right? But we're pressed for things that aren't godly already.
Yeah.
So we think the removal is the answer. And so you go from situation to situation, and then the one constant denominator is you, and you still got a mess everywhere you go. It ain't the people.
You dropping, but
you ain't honest. Again, if you ain't honest about sitting with yourself If you can say out your mouth, ha ha, I can be a handful sometimes, then you're a handful sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta know that.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, you gotta know it.
again, not from a judgmental place, but that alone should let you know someone's tolerating you too.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're like, again, when you're intentional. One thing me and my wife have, I know we're not on the subject of my wife, but she is a source of my life, right?
Of course, yeah.
Um, one of the things we're rooted in respect.
Mhm.
On our worst day, respect is not crossed. On our worst day, easier to forgive a person that doesn't disrespect you. Both ends, right? Um, we get hard to separate from each other, upset because we don't disrespect each other. That one fundamental principle that it seems like it should be that easy. Think
Yeah.
about all the relationships or the one relationship that you may have been that didn't work. And somewhere disrespect was there. So if we just go back to the core of being respectful, your
Mm.
environment,
Basic.
your
Yeah.
core change. Your environment with your friends change. Again, this is about you being personal with you. So if I'm
Mm.
respectful to my wife, I can show up at work and be respectful to everybody that's here. And not in the way that I love my wife, because it's not the same, but
Mhm.
it's rooted in my character. Sometimes I watch places I'm at and I watch everybody leave and come and go. And I'm still right there, not being disrespected and not disrespecting nobody.
Mhm.
Just living off those principles allow me to survive situations that the majority of people fold in because they crossed the boundary somewhere, whether it's
Mm.
professionally, spiritually, relationship wise, friendship wise. Think about how you talk to your friends. Think about
Mhm.
how easy that can go left if it's not rooted in respect.
Yeah.
Talk to my,
That's good.
I don't, it's just because I
Mm.
know you my whole, like, I'm not, I'm not talking to you sideways. We don't,
Mhm.
if you come at me disrespectful, the boundary is crossed.
Yeah.
You can't go back from that. And we're making that our norm. We're making
Yeah.
disrespecting each other the norm to being a friend, the norm to,
Yeah.
oh, didn't want to hurt my
Ooh, talk about that thing.
friendship.
Ain't no way. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about it like this as a teacher in character ed. You hear 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds always talking about you got to watch your friends more than your family. No, you don't. That friend wasn't supposed to be your friend past the fourth grade, but you kept them around because y'all was rooted in disrespect.
Okay.
They
That Jesus.
Listen.
when y'all was 7. They been betrayed y'all when y'all was 12. They ain't just starting act this way. This is just the straw that broke the camel's back. That's all. Right. So
My goodness.
when you identify your character as an individual and you can root it in respect, you won't stay in situations longer than you need to be there because it's very easy for you to see the line that was crossed.
Yeah.
You don't gotta figure it out. It's very easy for you to be like, "Up, this ain't for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
This not it."
Jesus.
So it's back to everything is just always back to you seeing you. I'm just not the guy that's okay with talking crazy to my wife and then pretending like it didn't happen the next day. And I'm not okay with
Mm.
her talking to me. And that's just not what we on.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's easier to navigate life with somebody that respects you. And they respect you because that's just who they are already.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it also sounds like
Love
your
that,
home is built
like,
on godly standards.
yeah,
And that's not in society is we are so far gone.
Everybody
We are
building their
like I
own.
feel like
yeah.
the culture that we were just talking about is built on pride and this desire and this necessity to be right. People will die being right.
Yeah.
People are okay with dying being right. And you have to ask yourself, am I willing to lose this person to the grave? Am I willing to go to the grave being right over forgiveness or over moving past it or over
Mhm.
reconciling or just saying I'm sorry?
And that's right only from your perspective.
Yes,
You can
yes,
be
in that part,
wrong.
girl.
Yes.
You can
That's
be
a
that's
whole thing.
your perspective.
Yes.
And
Tension
then
and-
some people say, look, I don't even want to deal with this, so I'm gonna let you think that you're right.
yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Mm.
They're telling a
Mhm.
truth, and they're true to an understanding.
Yeah.
Mhm.
To an understanding. So,
Yeah.
not this is a woman show, so I'm not a man versus woman guy. That's not my thing.
Mhm.
But you will hear a lot of women say things like, "He cheated on me," and
Mhm.
they'll they think that them being loyal and how they respect their bodies supersedes being disrespectful, not being supportive, not speaking to the king in him, not being understanding. So it's not that it's not about him being right for doing what he did. He's wrong, and you handle that how you
Right.
fit. If you don't correct who you are, this is why the same you is showing up to the next relationship.
The next
Yes.
Because you
relationship.
highlighting what he did so much, you ain't
Mhm.
Mhm.
you yet, and then you meet someone with emotional intelligence and find out, whoa, I got some work to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you got cheated on by 8 guys, but who were you? And again, I
Yes.
don't know what they did, because
Mhm.
they gotta fight that demon with their life. But we
Yeah.
have responsibility for your life.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so who you are in that next situation is based on what you took out of your last situation. And we
Mm.
have to stop the finger pointing. We get
Yeah.
to the root
That's
of
so good.
it's very important for us to get to the root of us. So that again, discernment becomes easy when you do the work on you. If you don't date drug dealers, right? Because your doctor says that you shouldn't date a drug dealer. The minute you meet a drug dealer, you're not dating him. That's a standard you set for yourself, right? How can you get mad at him for being a drug dealer later in your relationship when you chose somebody that didn't match how you wanted to live your life? That's a standard you set. You don't change that. We have a lot of principles that we waive in relationships just to
Mm.
have someone.
Mm.
When you're rooted in
Stop the top for that.
rooted in certain things and certain people, you be like, I don't even know how we was ever friends. I used
Mhm.
to drink all the time. I drink sometimes. I drink occasionally, but I'm not really a turn up guy. But some people were only when we were turning up. You know how hard
Mhm.
that is to discern when you're in the middle of that? When you're in the middle of that mess, you can't discern. That's what your friendship is.
Mhm.
You're busy being that.
Yeah.
Work on yourself and see who stick around.
I'm on.
Oh, you want to see who disappeared? Tell them how blessed you are.
Mhm.
Discernment comes easy when you set a standard for yourself because the people that don't belong won't stay anyway.
You're giving us a
It's
whole
about
word because that's true. Jesus.
it's a word. Opening up your eyes. If I say if you pay attention to your life will tell a story. If you pay attention to your everyday, you know, um, it's going to speak back to you.
Will.
About this being and about, like you said, look around your life, look at the people that you call friends. And that's why I don't easily subscribe to, hey, girl, you my friend, you my sister girl, all of these things, um, and yeah, we just have to open up our eyes. And like you said, it starts within. This personal development is very important, it's vital, it's necessary, it's a requirement. It's easy to point fingers on what others are doing, what they're not doing on outside. But what are you doing? What's going on in your inside? you know are you what is it, deflecting or reflecting, putting that on other people? What's really going on inside of you? And so this is definitely a call to get to the bottom, get to the core, get to the root of you.
Of you. Yep. I guess that's why we cousins.
Yeah.
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 It's to get to the root of you.
Get to the root of you. Who are you? How are you showing up?
Yep.
Are you more flexible? And this is me talking to me. Am I more flexible and grace giving and graceful with others outside of my family as opposed to those in my family? You know, am I how am I showing up in the marketplace? How am I showing up in just regular? Like you said, look, I'm just an ordinary person.
Regular.
People, I'm just regular.
Mhm.
I'm just me. How are you in your neighborhood? Are you cordial? Do you speak to your neighbors, or are you like a zombie? You go in and you go out.
Yeah.
Now all of us got, some neighbors is like, okay, all
Yeah.
right now. We got that. But for the most part, are you say, hey, in your own little way. But how are you showing up in these different places? Are you the real you, the authentic you?
Yes. The person you are when nobody's around is the person you
Yeah.
right. 50
Yeah.
Cent said something, and he's not, soccer, nobody crazy, but he said something that did really resonate with me a long time ago, and I took it to heart. And it was powerful in a sense where
Mm-hmm.
people can beat me at a lot of things, but people can't beat me at being me. I got so good at being me, there's no competition. I'm just me.
Mm,
Mm.
I I'm not looking to the left or right because you can't copy and paste me.
Come
mm,
on.
That's just what I live, and you might find a talent that you got, and that talent might be amazing for you, but you just can't be me. Not
Yeah.
yeah.
can't be me. And,
Yeah.
and I found the lane for myself. And
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
in my opinion, once I found myself, it was easy to connect it to God's purpose.
Mm.
Yeah. Listen, this has been a whole enrichment session tonight.
Yes, Jesus.
Power pack session tonight. This has definitely been powerful. This has been a power move conversation. I'm excited for what God is doing in you,
Mhm.
through
Through
you.
you, yeah.
Um, mm, I listen, I'm excited. I'm excited because if tonight is even a glimpse of
Listen,
what
because all I could sit over here and think was, I know those little babies come to him one way, but I know they don't leave the same.
you're not going to leave the
I know they
same.
don't leave the same.
I love it.
I know they stand, little, they walk straighter. Their back is straight, their head is up. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's
Mm.
it's your presence and your being
You're
that
being.
leaves a mark on these students. And it's not because you're telling them to.
Yes.
It's because
You're
I'm walking
showing.
like this because he walking like this. And if he walking like this, then I should walk like this. And if he can talk with confidence, then I can talk with confidence. And I don't have to curse the sound, for my voice to be important. And I don't have, you know what I mean? It's so many different things, but I just
That's packed up in
know
that. Yeah.
that the babies that you meet at the beginning of the year are not the ones that leave you at the end of the year. I know that for a fact. I know it.
It's super gratifying. If you would
Mm.
ask me would I be in the education field 10 years ago, and this is year 8, when I stepped out on faith and left corporate America, which I was excelling at, I would have,
Woo! Jesus.
I never would have thought this is literally what God meant when he said steps are ordered. You have to jump out the window and learn how to fly on the way down. And I did that, and the rest just it pulled me here. Um, all of this stuff is just pulling me places that I did not check off. And when I saw your email because I was celebrating my anniversary, so I was late getting back information to you and things.
Yeah.
And I'm reading the email. I said, "Ain't no way I'm gonna be able to write none of this stuff down, and try to memorize it on a pod."
Oh yeah, no, that's not what we doing.
Yeah, I say, "Ain't no way," because I don't even know how to tell the story from a script.
Mm.
Yeah, my steps is a blessing. That like teaching people what the beauty of surrender is, like
Mm.
surrendering, because we're so busy trying to do it ourselves, and we really think our intelligence matters. This life going life,
Ooh,
right?
Hold up,
Jesus.
pause, because
Wait a minute.
We think we're so smart and we can pull out all our man, life going. It's going to spin kick you in a way that
Jesus.
yeah, the person you just called is the only answer, right? And so the true surrendering is really taking your hands off the steering wheel.
My
Let
Lord.
navigate. Think about all the things you're afraid about that you have now, and you were actually, how was you ever even worrying, right?
Mm.
So that's where I'm at with my life. I don't really know how to express it no more than that. Is I don't really focus on uncertainty because I just know he will provide. I just never seen a
The
person.
righteous forsaken. See,
Okay.
fucking bread.
And I just posted that the other day. Like he just doesn't forsake us. We're going off of how we feel all the time, and his word is telling us that he's
Good
not,
with sugar.
right. And if you don't believe that he's going to forsake you for 1 second, then why are you worrying?
You, Jesus.
I'm out the right
Because
through this.
you said we think our intelligence matters so much, and the truth in that statement though is so powerful, and I think that's because we live in a world where everything is on a metric system.
Yes.
If you have this, then you are equivalent to this. If you don't have this, then you aren't equivalent to me. If you make this much, then you now are important. And you are of now, you are now of value. However, your whole journey speaks to what it's like to truly allow God to use you.
Yes.
When it doesn't make sense to you, when it don't look like how you think it's going to look, when the pay decreases, because had you said no, had you said, I'm going to do what I want to do, Lord, I'm good at this. What are we talking about? No.
I'm excelling in this.
I'm about to get a promotion. What you mean? Leave now? Like, you can't give me 6 more months and then I can, like, stack up some money, like, because in the flesh in us is what we say. These are the things that we say to ourselves, and we try to convince ourselves that our way is better. But your whole journey just is proof that God's way is better.
Yeah, favor not fair.
And he carves out.
Yeah.
Jesus.
He carves out. When we trust, when we dare to trust, when we dare to pivot, and we're closing, y'all. And when we dare to move, when we dare to shift, and not get lost in the uncertainty, but lean into the consistency of what we know in him.
Yes.
He carves out spaces and places for us.
And find value, as he said, in everything. Because early on he said, if he was like, you made a statement about being a stay-at-home mom and finding value in the fact that your kids are fed and that you have a home.
Yes.
We get so caught up if our lives don't look like how we feel like they should look. If they don't fit the picture that the 7-year-old selves of the 7-year-old versions of ourselves wrote out or drew out, or the 20-year-old versions of ourselves drew out. But if we find value in the smallest things, like maybe your mother's still living, maybe your relationship is better, maybe you are not the person you were a month ago, maybe the Lord delivered you.
Absolutely.
If we could find value in those things and start rejoicing over the everyday things, like, Lord, I can feel the sun on my face. I'm well enough to go for a walk. Our lives would be different. The joy in our hearts would be different.
Yes. Gratitude is such a powerful process. It's a process.
Finding
and I truly believe unlocking the next level is showing gratitude for where you are.
It is.
Because there are people that are successful that aren't happy. So that it's proof that joy is not attached to things. But
to your money.
Have gratitude on the journey, right? Because what we do, we celebrate the destination, not the journey.
Jesus.
Like, because you just said, like, the fact that you was better than you was last week or last month.
Yes,
Mhm.
Be celebrated,
Jesus.
right?
Yes.
And that celebration don't have to be loud.
Yeah.
No.
That's just
Right.
No.
Right.
right.
Mm,
Thank you, right? And so again, life going life. So you wake up in the morning, you're
mm,
intentional, hit the ground, you know, thank you, Lord, thank you, Jesus. You're setting a tone,
mm.
Yeah.
right? I've gotten all the way to work, realized I ain't have my wallet and 10 years ago, I'd have been like, I'm having a bad day.
Yeah.
Now I'm like,
It's
devil, I see you, my head on the swivel.
Mhm.
yeah.
Personality,
Yeah.
same experience, different mindset.
Woo.
We literally choose whether we're happy or not. It's literally a choice,
It's a
Yes.
choice.
literally a decision.
Mm.
And again, you're
Jesus.
practicing it, it becomes second nature. So you're not
Hmm.
thinking about, you just navigate those emotions naturally. So my wife always jokes and says, you're my calm. And um, I'm like, she has no idea how many prayers it got to get to that.
To this calm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
Um, because I've just never seen it not figured out. That's my calm.
Mm.
Mm.
I don't get to decide what the storm look like, but I ain't never seen myself not come out.
Mm.
And you ain't never seen yourself not come out because we talking today.
Woo. Woo. My Lord. I feel like we went to
Listen.
church. I do. I
Listen.
do. I feel like I sat for a whole sermon. I do. I do.
This
Just
was a
bless my whole heart.
mm-mm.
Oh,
This was a needed,
mm.
necessary,
Yes.
divine
Yes.
intervention, divine
Mm.
needed
Mm.
session tonight. And all I can say is good. All I can say is
Yes,
what?
Jesus.
And while we're trying to get our intentionality ramp it up, God said, don't forget that I'm intentional about everything that I'm doing.
Yes.
Listen.
And so, listen, we can go clearly, we can go we can go deep in here tonight. But as we're wrapping up, um, any final words you want to share? You shared a lot, but any final words, or if you want to speak to the men tonight, um, and definitely let us know how to follow you, how to connect with you. If anyone wants to even support your brand, what you're doing, um, give us all that information.
Um, we said a lot, so I'm
Yeah.
not overshare, but I will go back to where we started. Just if you can take anything, I'm just a regular person. I'm not pretending to be this person. You have to take what I'm saying serious, but you can you really should just start with you. If you don't have no answer to nothing else that's going on in your life, just start with yourself. Just start with just trying to be a better you. Because really that's what your life is, you versus you, the old you versus the new you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like as you start that process, you'll be surprised how God just step in and do the rest. Just eliminate the know-how. You don't have to know how. Just ask, believe, receive. It's really that simple. In order to find me, Facebook, I'm Champ Forbes, my name. Instagram, I'm at 25 Champ or at Custom Designs by Champ. Um, my website is attached to the link in my bio, so you can find my website there. You can browse my page and you can ask yourself, do I actually live the life that I'm speaking? You'll see it. Um, and in a nutshell, I'm from East Baltimore. Never thought I would love it here. Born in DC, moved here when I was 9. Never knew I would love my community so much. Saw so many people leave the community that was great. Decided not to be one of them. I believe in restoring, not retreating. So I'm knee deep here in my community. You can see me. You've probably seen me everywhere on foot. And I'm not stuck, I promise you. I work too hard not to be able to get around. Very intentional. when you see me, you'll probably see a person walking that's at peace, that feels safe in this community. I know that things can happen. I know things can be unsafe, but I'm just not concerned about that. I'm just here for it all. I'm here for y'all in any way that you can be use me. Use me. I believe in serving. I believe we're here to serve. There's no such thing as bare minimum for me. So if you can see any way that I can serve you, your children, adults as well, then I'm here, and that's about it. I'm
Wow.
grateful to be here today. This was amazing. Um, to shout you out because I talk about you a lot. Ben have. I watched you grow so much from the little girl singing Eyes on a Sparrow in the church.
Oh my goodness, yes.
I'm gonna hold that over your head forever. But just watching you grow in your own journey and being an empowerment for women because it's needed. And really, you're like I was just inspired that you was inspired to ask, to be honest with you. So it's kind of how I have you ranked in my head as well. So
Well,
I'm grateful to be able to share and reconnect with my family. As you know, our family, it don't matter how long we've been gone, it's love the same when we see each
yes,
other.
it is.
Nothing.
Absolutely.
Um, and I'm grateful. I'm really grateful. I want to mention our family a little bit short. I'm not long, but just like we grew up with some wonderful men and women. We grew up in
Absolutely.
marriage. We grew up seeing love. We grew up, but
Mm-hmm.
we still came from Baltimore, you know. And
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think that people think you had to have this different background to come from a loving environment, and it wasn't perfect, but it was good people. It was we had
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
um um and I had posted this quote about my dad on Facebook before I stopped, where I said, you know, my dad never told me to be better than him. He just
Yeah.
showed better, and I strive to be that.
Yeah. I
Like
remember you. Yeah.
just watched
Mm-hmm.
my dad just be great. I really just watched my mom just be great.
Yeah. It's be great. Mm-hmm.
Right? And we didn't talk about grades much after I was in elementary school. My parents was more like the value of intelligence, and we didn't talk about grades. And if we talk
Mm.
about intelligence, you almost get good grades by default.
Yep.
It just inspired me to want to know things. Just
Yeah.
you know,
Lead by example. Mm-hmm.
led by example. So I I don't know. Like I can't take credit for nothing that has happened in my life, and
Yeah.
I have many stories that I haven't told, but like to see it, to go
Yeah.
outside in my community, living in East Baltimore again, where all of my friends had both of their parents. All of
Mm-hmm.
my friends, um, even as a football coach, I coach at Archbishop Curley. I coach
Mm-hmm.
all of my friends, all of my peers. These are fathers. These are real fathers, not fake fathers. That's not like you. We, I feel like we have selective vision.
And people, these are the stories that people don't tell.
Yeah,
This is not what's in the
this is
news.
what's in the news, right? And that's why I wanted to be here. Like that, this was one of the reasons why I wanted to be here because it is not rare. It is
Yeah.
not rare. And if 50% of marriages fail, 50% work. If only 50% of dads are present, then that means 50% somewhere dads have their children. And
Mm-hmm.
don't
Yeah.
share it because the men that are leading and represented aren't busy looking for an applause.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is the most I'll ever talk on these subjects because I'm on
Yeah.
a platform where it's geared towards. When I get off here with you, I'm going back to my regularly scheduled life
Yeah. Yeah.
where I don't have to post every time I tell my child I love them, and I don't have to share
Yeah.
how me and my wife eat. And so
Yeah.
I think I needed to get that out there because this is our community and we have to connect with the right people. And if you have children and you want them around the right people, I feel like I'm one of those people, just, reach out to me. I'm here for it.
Yeah. We are in summation, right?
Mm.
Like there are great things that are happening right here in Baltimore, Maryland, in Baltimore City. We have great men. We have great families. Yes, there are other things that take place, but it does not negate or take away
Yes.
from the amazing things that are having the positive reinforcements that we have. And this is what we need to hear more of. So I am just so honored that you accepted to the opportunity to come on tonight and share. You've definitely blessed us. You've definitely shared so many different nuggets. We will have the replay, everybody. Thank you all for coming in and tuning in with us here at Sister to Sister Talk Power Moves. Listen, this was a powerful male perspective tonight. You heard it right from the mouth of the champ. Champ Forbes, who wears so many hats in family, in community, I want to say in ministry, in business, in wherever you find in education, in mental health, wherever you find him, just know that he is being found in purpose. Not perfect, but progressing, but standing in purpose. And so we are so grateful for you coming tonight and sharing what it means to live in faith, focus, and fortitude. Everybody, go ahead and tag, go ahead and follow, go ahead and support
Yes.
Mr. Champ Forbes. So many amazing things that's going on. And we know for all that you poured out tonight, we pray that He will overload you, right? Upload you, overload you, overtake
Mhm.
you with his abundant
Yes.
blessings, and that he will continue to strengthen you and allow you to continue to be that man that you need to be in your home and every other front that you have been called to. So again, we thank you for pouring out tonight, and we know that God has so many amazing things in store for you. Lady T, do you have anything else to share before we close out tonight?
I do not. This was an absolute blessing. An absolute blessing.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know that it is full circle when you can jump in and you don't need introduction because the word has already gotten out to say, "Hey, that's
Listen.
the man. That's the man. That's the man." So again, cuz love you. Thank God for our family has brought us here to this space and making great impact in the world. And for y'all who listen tonight, listen to that replay. It's time for you to get
Yes.
mad. Make a difference. Love you all. This has been Sister to Sister.